Okay, hi all. Assalamualaikum. Very good afternoon to all of you. Okay, today this is the last chapter for this semester. So the topic is communication. So this is what you're going to learn today. Define the nature and function of communication. Compare and contrast method of interpersonal communication. Identify barriers to effective interpersonal communication and how to overcome them. Explain how communication can flow most effectively in organization. Describe how technology affect managerial communication and organization. Discuss contemporary issues in communication. Okay, this is the learning outcomes. Define organizational communication and discuss its importance. Explain the communication process and types of communication. Explain the differences between verbal and non-verbal communication. State the difference between a vertical and horizontal communication. Describe the barrier to effective communication and how to overcome them, and also explain effective organizational communication. Okay, first you must know what is the definition of communication. So communication is actually the transfer and understanding the meaning. So the transfer here means the message was received in a form that can be interpreted by the receiver, and understanding the message is not the same as the receiver agreeing with the message. So communication involves transfer and understanding of message. So it can be the interpersonal communication, communication between two or more people, and also organizational communication. So organizational communication is all patterns include the networks and also system communication within the organization. So communication, they have two types: interpersonal and also organizational. Interpersonal is your individual, your communication between you and your friend, and organizational communication is the communication within an organization. So another definition of communication is communication that involve the process of sending and receiving message, and effective only when understood. Communication is effective if whatever I share, whatever information that I give it to you, you understand. So this is where the effective communication is happen. Okay, the other words of the definition of communication is the word communication means that the act or process of giving or exchanging of information, signal or messages as by talk, gesture or writing. So technically speaking, in the act of communication, we make opinion, feelings, information, etc. known or understood by others through speech, writing or bodily movement. So communication is not only talk, but it can be in the writing way and also the body movement. That's why we have a verbal and also non-verbal communication. Okay, communication also we can say as the sharing of information between two or more individuals or groups to reach the common understanding. So this connection between two or more individual or groups is actually the process of transferring signal or message between a sender and receiver through various methods, include the written words, non-verbal cues, and also spoken words. So normally this communication is involve the sender and also the receiver. Okay, this sender will send the message to the receiver, and this receiver, they must understand the message. That what I call as a effective communication. Okay, faham? So what are the importance of communication? Okay, the first importance of communication is build network. Okay, if you know how to communicate well, you actually can build network. You can have more friends. You can build your own network. Okay, then you can lead effectively. One of the characteristic of the good leader is actually you must have a good communication skill. Okay, if you have a good communication skill, you're going to lead effectively. Next, you're going to disseminate and also exchange information. You're going to have and receive and exchange information to your employees. Okay, to any people, to other people. If you have a communication, okay, you if you want to share, you want to exchange any information without communication, you cannot do that. Okay, because that's why I told you communication can be verbal and also non-verbal, written and also written. Okay, then you learn new skill. By communication, you actually learn new skill. You talk with your employee, you talk with other people, and you learn something. Okay, by communication also you are more responsive to the customer. Okay, if you are working in the customer service, if customer complain to you whatever things, okay, so you know how to be responsive to the customer. And lastly, you can work as a team. Okay, with the communication you can work as a team. Next, what are the function of communication? Okay, function of communication is to control, to motivation, to have an emotional expression and so information. So to control, formal and informal communication add to control individuals' behaviour in the organisation. Okay, formal and informal communication, so macam ni you cakap, macam mana you cakap, how you talk, how you communicate with your boss and how you communicate with your friend. Okay, normally you are more informal if you are communicate with your friend, but if you are communicate with your customer, with your friend, with your boss, with your customer, you are more formal. Okay, then the function of communication is motivation. Communication, they clarify for employees what is to be done, how well they have done it, and what can be done to improve performance. With the communication, you can motivate people. You also can be motivated. Next, emotional expression. So social interaction in the form of work group communication provides a way for employees to express themselves. Then we have information. So individual and work groups need information to make decision or to do their work. Okay, next we move to the communication process. Okay, this is the communication process. Okay, the communication process, I think some of you already know what is a communication process. Okay, this involve something like this. Okay, sender, they're going to encode the message, and this message is going to go to the medium, and medium they go to the receiver, and this receiver they're going to decode the message, and after that they're going to give feedback. In between there's noise. Okay, we go one by one. So what is a sender? Sender is actually the communicator, also the person who initiate the conversation and has conceptualize the idea that he intends to convey it to others. So normally they are the one that they have a message and they want to tell people about what is the message. Okay, so this encoding refer to the sender. They begin with the encoding process where he uses certain words or non-verbal methods such as symbol, sign, body gesture to translate the information into message. You have a message, you have information, how you want to encode that message, how you want to send the message, how you want to translate that message. Okay, the sender knowledge, skill, perception, background, competency has a great impact on the successful of the message. This is important. What are the things, how you want to convey this message? It is important for the receiver whether this communication process is effective or not. Okay, then the message. We have message here. Once the encoding is finished, the sender gets the message that he intends to convey, and the message can be a written, oral, symbolic or non-verbal, such as body gesture, silence, sign, sound, and etc. So any other signal that trigger the response of the receiver. Okay, then you use the medium, or we call it as a communication channel. So the channel, this sender, they choose the medium through which he wants to convey his message to the recipients. It must be selected carefully in order to make the message effective and correctly interpreted by the recipients. So the choice of medium depends on the interpersonal relationship between the sender and the receiver, and is also urgency of the message being sent. So it can be oral, written, visual, sound, gesture are the some of the commonly used communication medium. So you need to know what kind of channel you want to tell. For example, you want to tell by maybe writing, right? So then you must tell what information that you have by writing, for example, and that writing must be clearly understood by the receiver. Then who is the receiver? Receiver is the person who going to get the message. Okay, the person to whom the message is intended or targeted. So normally he tries to comprehend it and the best possible manner, such that the communication objective is attained. So the degree to which the receiver decodes the message depends on his knowledge of the subject matters, experience, trust and relationship with the sender. Then we have decoding. Okay, decoding here is the receiver. They're going to interpret the sender's message and try to understand it in the best possible manner. And effective communication occurs only if the receiver understands the message is exactly the same way as the way intended by the sender. So the feedback is the final stage of the process that ensure the receiver has received the message and they're going to interpret it correctly and it was intended by the sender. It increases the effectiveness of the communication as it permits the sender to know the efficiency of his message, and the response of the receiver can be verbal and also non-verbal. Okay, then we have in between of this communication process we have the noise. The noise actually shows the barriers of the communication, something that can block the sender to send the message to the receiver, and there are chances when the message sent by the sender is not received by the recipients. Okay, this is the communication process. Actually this communication process is the time, we not consider the time here. It's like when you talk with your friend, okay, you have information and you tell your friend you are the sender and your friend is a receiver. So before you encode, you want to encode the message, what kind of medium and how receiver going to receive that message, whether they understand or not, it depends and on the time also. Okay, it can be on the spot, it can take time also. Okay, let's see this thing again. Okay, message, a purpose to be conveyed, encoding to converted a message into the symbol, channel, the medium a message travel along, decoding, retranslating a sender message. Then we have a communication process, the 7 elements involved in transferring meaning one person to another. Then we have noise, any disturbance that interfere with the transmission, receipt or feedback of the message. Okay, next we go to the verbal and non-verbal communication. So verbal communication, verbal language is a series of expressive thought and also perception described through word symbols. So it can be oral communication, either by spoken or written communication by letters or memos. Okay, oral and written we call it as a verbal communication. Okay, then we have a non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is actually communication that transmit without word. You tell someone using the non-verbal. You not talk, you not write. Okay, so it include body language, gesture, facial configuration, and other body movement that convey meaning. So, and we also have verbal intonation and emphasis given to the words and phrases that convey meanings. Okay, non-verbal communication is include eye contact, facial gesture, facial expression, posture and gesture, and also silent message. As you can see, is this cartoon. Tina, we've gotten some complaint about your hostile behavior. At the recent meeting, you cross your arm. That is unacceptable body language. So they said it was cool. See, eyebrow. So the non-verbal communication you can see by your facial expression. It can be time, space, and also territory, send silent message. Time, it can be punctuality and structure. Space, arrangement of objective, and also territory, the privacy zone. It can be appearance also. Appearance, send silent message. You can see the appearance of business document and also appearance of people. Appearance also one of the non-verbal communication. Okay, they said the fourth space zone for social interaction among Americans. They said there is intimate zone if you are like closer to 1 to 1.5 feet. Personal zone 1.5 to the 4 feet. The space also part of the communication. If you like first time you meet your boyfriend or girlfriend, normally you will stay very far because you are a stranger. From far we know, okay, you actually the stranger. Okay, space also one of the non-verbal communication. Okay, we have social zone 4 to the 12 feet and public zone 12 or more feet. Okay, now we go to the types of non-verbal communication and body language. First, we have a facial expression. So the human face is extremely expressive, able to express countless emotion without saying a word. And unlike some form of nonverbal communication, facial expression are universal. The facial expression for happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, fear, and disgust are the same across culture. If you're sad, you are going to show you're sad. Like this face, okay, maybe sad, maybe I don't know, frustrated or something else. Okay, so facial expression is one of the type of a nonverbal communication. Then we have body movement and posture. Consider how your perception of the people are affected by the way they sit, walk, stand up, or hold their head. For example, when I'm inside my class, for example, okay, when I talk, I can know whether your movement and your posture, I can know whether you like or don't like my class. Okay, the way you move and carry yourself communicates a wealth of information to the world, and this type of non-verbal communication including your posture, bearing, stance, and also subtle movement. That's why if you go to any meeting or so on, your body movement and posture is important. Okay, don't show you are bored or something, must be professional. Then we have gesture. Okay, gesture are woven on the fabric of our daily life. We wave, point, beckon, and use our hand when we are arguing or speaking animatedly, expressing ourselves with the gesture often without thinking. However, the meaning of gesture can be very different across culture and region, so it is important to be careful to avoid misinterpretation. Then we have eye contact. Since the visual sense is dominant for most people, eye contact is an especially important type of nonverbal communication. The way you look at someone can communicate many things including interest, affection, hostility, and attraction. So eye contact is also important in the maintaining the flow of the conversation and foregoing other person response. So the eye contact, sometimes you're just staring at people with the stare macam mata tu macam marah, so people will know it's actually nonverbal communication. Okay, eye contact. Next is touch. Okay, we communicate a great deal through touch. Think about the messages given by the following: a firm shake hand. Okay, this is a touch, a firm shake hand. A timid tap on the shoulder, you are tap on the shoulder like scared. A warm bare hug. Reassuring pat on the back. Patronizing pat on the head, or controlling grip on your arm. Okay, in Malaysia, this patronizing pat on the head is very bad. You tak boleh sentuh orang punya kepala. Okay, so you must know. In Malaysia lah, I don't know about your culture, but for Malay, head is something that you need to respect. You cannot simply touch people's head. Okay. Then space. Have you ever felt uncomfortable during the conversation because the other person was standing too close and invading your space? So we all have a need for physical space, although that their needs different depending on the culture, the situation, and the closeness of the relationship. You can use physical space to communicate many different non-verbal messages, including signal of intimacy, aggressive, dominance, or affection. So intimacy, kalau you want intimacy, normally you have got space very close. Okay, if you talk with stranger, that space, if they stand in a very close space, you feel uncomfortable. Okay. Next, we have voice. We communicate with our voice, even when we are not using word. Non-verbal speech sounds such as tone, pitch, volume, inflection, rhythm, and rate of the important communication element. When we speak, other people read our voice in addition to listening to our words. This non-verbal speech sound provides subtle but powerful clues into our true feelings and what we really mean. Okay. Think about how tone of voice, for example, can indicate sarcastic sarcasm, and effective or confidence. So by the voice also, your tone of the voice also actually one of the non-verbal communication. The tone of the voice, not the voice. Okay, when you talk, it's actually verbal communication, but the tone of the voice is a non-verbal communication. Okay, next we have the lateral and horizontal communication. So normally, communication, they have a direction of the basic direction of the communication is downward, upward, horizontal, or lateral, diagonal, or crosswise, inward, and also outward. Okay, let's go one by one. Okay, downward communication. It include the written and also oral. It can be instruction, memoranda, letter, handbooks, policy statement, procedure, electronic news, display, and also others. And oral, instructions, speeches, meeting, telephone, loudspeaker, and others. Okay, upward. Okay, upward is the communication that flows from the bottom to top, or which is from the lower hierarchy level to the higher level, is called upward communication. So the main function of the upward communication is to supply information to the upper level about what is happening at the lower level. Then we have lateral communication. Lateral communication is we call as horizontal, mean the communication between the same level. Marketing manager and also production manager, marketing manager, training, okay, they have a same level of communication. Then we have vertical communication. Okay, vertical macam ni, it can be upward and also it can be downward. Okay, then we have diagonal or crosswise communication. So diagonal or crosswise communication influence the flow of information among the person in different level who has no direct reporting relationship. So this diagonal cross communication is include the oral and also written, such as informal meeting, lunch hour meeting, formal conference, project organization meetings, advisory authority interaction with line manager of different departments, company newspaper, magazine, bulletin boards, in-house journal, and also communique. Okay, we have a inward communication. So inward communication include all the information received by the organization from the external agency, which can be other organization, government, supplies, customer, competitor, shareholder, media, and this can be in the form of the letter, email, offers, order, request, suggestion, complaints, notice, and so on. Then we have outward communication. The communication which the organization maintain with the outside world is called outward communication. So outward communication, it may be in the form of advertisement, media interaction, public relation, negotiation, mails, telegram, letters, tenders, notice, telephone conversations, and so on. Okay, the forms of communication, they can be divided into the non-verbal, verbal to non-verbal, and the verbal communication can be oral or written. It depends on the manner which the message is expressed. If it is expressed to the mouth, it is an oral communication, and if it is face-to-face conversation, dialogue, interviews, meeting, conference, telephonic conversation, and so on. So when the message expressed to the written language symbol, it is written communication. It include the report, letters, mail, telegram, orders, and memos. So when no words are used in the symbol, but no words are used, only symbol, color, sign, sound, expression that help the express message turn into the non-verbal communication. Okay, now I want to explain to you that easy way how you want to understand the direction of the communication. As I told you, in management we have 3 level of the management. We have top, we have middle, and we have a bottom line. Okay, this is the level of the management. So the first one we have downward. Okay, downward direction, downward. Okay, is downward is the information that flows from the top to bottom. Okay, from the top to bottom. Okay, what is the example of the information that flows from the top to bottom? It can be the instruction from the top management, memo, letters, handbooks, policies, and so on. Okay, this is what we call as a downward. Okay, then we have upward. Okay, upward from the bottom to top. Okay, this is the information that flow from bottom to the top, from the lower hierarchy to the higher level. So normally this kind of information, the example is you're going to supply information to the upper level about what happens in the lower level. Okay, for example, means that maybe the bottom level they want to complain to top management. So this is the upward level of upward direction. Okay, upward direction, flows of information. Next we have horizontal. Horizontal is also we call as a lateral. This is lateral or horizontal. Okay, lateral is horizontal. They are flow from the same department. It can be same bottom line, same middle management, or same top management. Or this same level we call it as a horizontal direction or lateral. Okay. Then we have diagonal or crosswise direction. Okay, diagonal or crosswise. Okay, like this. Okay, this is what we call as a diagonal or crosswise. Okay, it's the flows of information among the person at the different level. Okay, you are in the different level who has no direct relationship. They can be the informal meeting, lunch hour meeting, formal references, and etc. Okay, next we have inward communication. Inward macam ni. Inward. Okay, inward is all the information that are received from the external agency. Okay, external is come from the external. Any information that bring from out to in, we call it as a inward communication. So example of the communication, it can be they come from the maybe for the government, supplier, customer, competitors, shareholder, media. It can be a form of maybe letter, complaint. Okay, if you receive any complaint, it's actually the information that bring from your customer to the organisation. So we call it as a inward communication direction. Then we have outward. Outward macam ni, dari dalam keluar. Outward. Okay, outward is a communication which the organisation maintains to the outsiders word and maybe in form of advertisement, can be the tender. Okay, you put the tender in the newspaper, for example. Okay, so this is the direction of the communication. Okay, we have inward, inward, outward, upward, downward, diagonal, and also lateral or horizontal. And we have vertical. Vertical and horizontal. Vertical we have upward dengan inward, and horizontal we have lateral. Okay, I hope you can understand more regarding the direction of communication. Okay, next we move to the barrier to communication. Okay, barrier to communication. So this is the barrier to effective communication. We have ineffective communication skills, negative attitude towards the situation, information overload, inconsistency with our frame of reference, credibility of sources, physical location, distraction, defensiveness. Okay, this is the barrier of communication. There's a lot of barrier. Okay, one, this is the barrier that normally people will talk about the communication. First, filtering. Filtering means you are going to manipulate the information to make it appear more favorable to the receiver. For example, your employee, you are the manager, so the employee, they are complaining about something, and you are the one who received that complaint. You filter that complaint and make it good when you come to the top management. So the top management, they don't know what actually happened down. Okay, so you're going to manipulate the information that make it appear too favorable to the receiver. That is a part of the barrier of communication. Then we have information overload. Information overload, they occurs when information exceeds our processing capacity. For example, you attend this class, for example. Okay, maybe for the first 30 minutes you can understand what I said. After that, you think that okay, there's a lot of overload of information, so you start to ignore whatever I said. So this is barrier of communication also. And we have a jargon. Jargon is specialized terminology or technical language that member or group use to communicate among themselves. For example, there's a lot of medical term and only doctors understand. For example, okay, you go to meet the doctor and doctor use this jargon words to you and you don't understand what is that mean. Okay, so this is a part of the barrier of communication. Okay, then you go to how you want to overcome the barriers. Actually, how you want to overcome the barriers, it depends on the answer. I mean, it depends on the problem, what kind of barrier. Okay, commonly you can use feedback. So ask question about the message to determine whether it was received and understood as intended. If you talk with someone you don't understand, you ask. So if you ask, you can easily understand. Means if you're not clear about something, you ask, then you can easy for you to understand what is the message is all about. Then you must use the simplified language. No need to use the bombastic words. Okay, use the simplified language that everyone can understand, easily for them to understand. So consider the audience to whom the message is directed and tailor the language to them. You no need to use hard words, not need to use jargon to make people understand. Choose the very easy words that all your audience can understand what you're trying to say. And to overcome the barriers is active listening. So listening for full meaning without making premature judging and or interpretation. So if you want to have a good effective communication, so you just need to listen. Okay, listen and make them finish all whatever they want to say first, then you can ask the question. Okay, well, how you want to be an active listening behavior. Okay, don't interrupt when people talk something. Don't interrupt. Paraphrase what's been said. Avoid distracting or action or gesture. Ask question, exhibit affirmations, head notes, and also appropriate facial expression. Shows interest by making eye contact and also show empathy. Okay, this is the way how you want to become an active listener. Okay, next, effective organizational communication. What are the implications of poor performance if you have a poor communication? Okay, low employee morale, reduced productivity, low job performance, dissatisfaction, lack of commitment, poor organizational citizenship behavior, and also resistance to change. Next, how to encourage effective organizational communication. Develop trust and openness, practice employee empowerment, express concern and empathy, build player, using organization intranets, managing power, and also encourage supportive communication. This is how you want to encourage organizational communication. Okay, managing communication in the internet world. They have legal and security issue and appropriate use of a company email and instant messaging, loss of confidential and proprietary information due to inadvertent of deliberate dissemination to the hackers, and lack of the personal interaction. Okay, in today's challenging environment, companies need to get input from their employees. So normally, how you want to get input from the employee, you can give the suggestion box. So manager do the business in the world today, they can afford to ignore such potential valuable information, because sometimes your employee can give the more valuable information and suggestion to your organization. Then we have ethical communication, means that communication that includes all relevant information is true in every sense and is not deceptive in any way. Okay, that's all for this week. That's all for this week. Okay, that's all for this semester, and I will give you guys the assignment question, and you need to do it in only 1 week, no matter what. I will email all of you the assignment question. Okay, if you don't understand what assignment question, you can message me or you can discuss in the group. That's all for me, and that's all for this semester. Anything you don't understand about any topics, you can message me. And for your information, your final exam is going to be the case study based, and you can just use all the information that you have from my class or the notes. Okay, that's all for this semester. Enjoy your day and good luck in your final exam. Goodbye from me. Bye bye.